now proudly presented on SNME. That's Sunday night's main event, Patreon and free feed. Hey guys, what's going on? It's your host, your boy George McKay, back here on the MLW Rewind. And at the beginning of the show, like you heard, proudly presented on SNME. That's the Sunday night's main event, Patreon and free feed. And of course, here on YouTube and anywhere else that you may possibly get your ear candy. I am your host, George McKay. And as always, I never do this alone. I always do this with my forever PIC until one of us gets tired of the other. The one and only Uncle Bobby B.
Oh, hoy, hoy. Yeah, it's just like marriage. Like it's till death do us part, or one of us can't stand the other one.
Yeah, for sure. But hey, at least
Yeah.
I have way more energy this week. We're not phoning it in. I can hear, which is great. The ear infection is past, and I was able to get rid of all the other buildup that was up in that ear. So life is good.
That was an excessive amount of unnecessary detail, but all right.
You know what? Here on MLW Rewind, not only do we discuss MLW, but occasionally we
We
discuss
discuss your ear infections. Okay.
Well, I had an ear infection last week, fucker, and you know that.
Yeah, that's true.
And you even said at the beginning of the episode, I'm not myself, but like a true professional, I'm
No,
soldiering.
I'm not denying you had an ear infection. I'm aware.
Just
I know.
I didn't give like gross details, like the thing that I didn't say any of that. I just said I can hear again. And life is good. That's all I said.
There was some discussion of drainage, but
I just said I got rid of all the excessive buildup. Take it how you want to take it at that point. I don't know what else to tell you. That's all
there's
I
only
said.
one way I'm taking that.
That's what she said. All right. Anyways, so we started off with Joe Dombrowski and Matt Striker. They're kicking off the show. They are super excited about the hour that we have in store, and they are interrupted by the one and only Salina de la Renta, who says, "Stay glued to your chairs," because she's got a big announcement. Let me tell you, it is pretty damn big. And then she throws the mic at Joe and tells him to do his job. And Striker agrees with her. And Joe Dombrowski says, well, she's back in a big way. That was the opening segment. And I also did want to throw out a tip of the hat to that little piece that they edited at the beginning of the show. It's about a 10-second clip. And it just says, no big promotions, no billionaires, just wrestling. MLW. And I thought that was pretty kick-ass. I thought it was. That was pretty cool to just come out there and say, we don't have the bright lights and the billions of dollars behind us. But
Or the politics. They did say no politics, too.
That's what it was. They said no politics, no billionaires, just wrestling. And I did appreciate that. So kudos to Court Bauer and team on that one. What did you think of that clip? And what did you think of the opening segment with Salina de la Renta, who now I think at this point has to change the dress? I know they record back to back to back, but we're 4 weeks in, and that dress is yet to be changed.
You know what? She just came back. She hasn't got her wardrobe transferred over yet.
Right.
That must be the situation. But yeah, they're giving her some screen time because she is back. She's going to be a big force in the league. And yeah, I enjoyed that little opening package as well. It did catch my eye because I saw no politics, and I immediately was like, what? And then just no billionaires, just for this. Like, I see what they did there. Okay.
I see what they did there. I see how they reworked that. That's good. That's good. Okay, so first match of the night is featherweight action. We got the MLW debuting, Zeta Steel. She's only been in the business for about a year, greenlit about a year ago, and making waves enough to get a shot on MLW. And she's facing Tiara James. That is our 5th round draft pick, if you do not remember, from the open draft. And this match was fun. It was fun and it was entertaining. And what I really liked is that this was the first time that I think we saw Tiara at her full potential, her full power. And I enjoyed it thoroughly. I thought she handled her business. I thought Zeta, looked like the actual veteran in the ring. And the only reason I say that is because she pulled a lot of veteran moves when Tiara got a little bit of momentum. She rolled right under the ring like a true veteran, tried to get the break, but Tiara kept the attack on it. She hit her with that devastating top-tier takedown, which is what she calls her finisher, which is just an inverted leg sweep DDT, but it still looks pretty powerful. And she got the 1, 2, 3. I thought she looked great. I thought she looked a lot more comfortable than she did the first time that we saw her. And I actually would like to see Zendaya back as well. Zendaya Steele, she entertained me enough to want to see more of her. So all in all, this was a great opener. And that's surprising because usually if the opener is not a fast-paced luchador, it tends to lose us. But this one, I don't know, it kept me entertained.
Yeah, no, it was great. Getting getting some exposure to young Zeta James and
Deal.
some Steel story, excuse me, and Tiara James getting more screen time. Clearly, someone that MLW sees a lot of upside to. I think you got to have those few core talents in each division that you can build around, and some of those talents need to be your. Maybe they're not incredible now, but in 3-4 years they will be. And I think that's the kind of potential that they see here, and not just these ladies, but some of the other guys we're going to talk about a little bit later in the show. So yeah,
Absolutely.
it was a good match, and I agree with your points. Zeta looked a lot more comfortable than most people I've seen who've only been in the ring about a year, and it was very good match from these ladies. Featherweight division is looking good right now.
Absolutely. And obviously, Miss James will probably be the person that will be the next one in line after Becca and Delmy tie up their feud. I mean, that's logically the only way to go, because right now the division really consists of these three constants and the occasional drop in, but these three constants are those pillars of that featherweight division, being Becca, Delmy, and now Miss James. All right, and we get a recap of last week's brawl between the Calling and SGC and Jimmy Lloyd, who's not a member of SGC, but is a member of SGC just based on the wars they've all been through together. But he's a member of SGC. I mean, but the way they said it was that's the way they said it. So
Friend of mine, friend of ours.
yeah, yeah. You know, the enemy of my enemy is still my friend.
Yeah, he's not a made guy. He's a connected guy.
There you go. And after the brawl, apparently the production truck found a calling card from the Calling and a thumb drive. And on that thumb drive was a promo from the Calling targeting Manders. And Ricky Shane Page saying that they've made more additions to his Calling, which I thought was a little strange. We haven't seen Raven in the last couple of promos, and we've seen Akira standing kind of in the shadows, getting more and more frustrated. And Ricky keeps saying these little things that are just making more nails in this coffin appear as the weeks go by. There is definitely as much as the Calling is the strongest faction right now in MLW based on the amount of gold they have, they're definitely planting the seeds that by the end of this year, the Calling will be no more, or Ricky Shane Page will implode himself and they'll kick him out of the Calling. I'm not really sure how it's all working right now, but they're targeting Manders, and they've added additions like the Unhinged Cannonball, which we've known for a few weeks now, but they've made it official by announcing it in this promo. But regardless, Ricky Shane Page targeting Manders now, and Akira still not looking happy, and Ricky making these weird comments, throwing these weird digs in his Calling. He's the Gold King. These last couple of promos have been very egotistical from Ricky Shane Page, and it's just it is becoming the beginning of the end. It is.
Well, like you said, we haven't really seen Raven. Raven really doesn't do a whole lot of talking. He's more just kind of there, and he's behind the scenes. So will it
Well, he
be
did
that
all the talking in the beginning. Raven
in the
was
beginning?
the mouthpiece of the Calling. He was.
So I mean, are we just seeing, is this just a natural progression of Raven's kind of done his time and he's moving on, and Ricky's gonna be taking things over? Will they spin a storyline out of this? Is it the Calling kicking Ricky out? Is it Akira leaving the Calling? There's so many different angles to explore here. So definitely cracks in the foundation, as you say. So the Calling, they may not be answering very soon.
Oh, nice. Nice wordplay. Way to go. Top tier. Top tier for sure. Absolutely. Jimmy Lloyd puking. Mance Warder runs over, says, listen, man, you shouldn't be drinking that much. And Jimmy says, no. I've been running. I've been trying to cut weight for this middleweight title match that I got coming. And Man's saying, you know what, baby, I'm gonna get you some more beers. And then he tells the cameraman, don't film him while he's puking. We don't want to give away our secrets. It's not really a secret. Jimmy is built like myself, but he can go a lot better than I ever could in a ring. But yeah, it's just I thought it was great. Anytime Mance is involved in any kind of promo, and I think Jimmy Lloyd's comedy is underrated. Because he's always playing the very serious guy. He just wants to fight, he wants to fuck people up. He reminds me of what was his name? Mike Perot back in the early days of MLW, when his promos were just two words: let's fight. Those were his promos. That's all he would say.
Man, a few words.
Man, a few words, but he was a man of action. Jimmy Lloyd is a man of action, but I believe in this sequence, his comedy was definitely utilized to its full potential. What do you got?
Well, it's funny. We know these professional wrestlers as their wrestlers, as who they are, but we don't necessarily know them as people. And no matter what kind of person they may be inside of the ring or the arena, you don't know what they're like outside of the ring. So Jimmy Lloyd probably is a pretty hilarious guy. I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say he likes to crack a joke or two. I don't think he's like a super serious. Like we met some guys who were more like super serious just in general.
Mance
And
Warner.
some were more, yeah.
Mance Warner, super polite, sweetest guy in the world, but very serious. 1-2 words you get out of him, says thank you a lot, and he appreciates and all that stuff. But the Mance you see on camera, the Mance you see in the ring, completely different dude. And that's when you just turn it up, right?
So I think Jimmy getting an opportunity to maybe show a little more of his true self, perhaps. I don't know. I'm just speculating here, but that kind of stuff. Whenever we see somebody who's like really generally a serious wrestler do funny things, the effect is exponentially greater because we don't expect those things from him. Like just Frankie the Mobster, you don't expect him to say funny things in the middle of a match, aka Frankie the Beast King, but he will. And he'll crack a joke like this, and it's hilarious because you don't expect that from a guy who's massive and comes out with a python around his head, but it works. And I just think stuff like that little comedy side of things, I enjoy seeing it come out of people.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, all right. Well, let's move on to how about this? Salina's big announcement. I thought we were gonna get it later in the show, but we got it relatively early on. CMML, that's right, CMLL. My apologies, is coming, and they are versing MLW. It's going to be promotion versus promotion, and their first interpromotional match will be Mr. Romero taking on Akira at Slaughterhouse. It's the welterweight champ versus the middleweight champ, and that is a new addition to the Slaughterhouse match card, which is looking very fucking stacked. And I got some words on that a little bit later. But what do you think about the big announcement that Salina was able to broker this deal from CMLL and MLW? And we're going to get to see Rocky Romero, who a lot of people would know as a fixture both in CMLL and New Japan.
Well, it's funny you should close with the words New Japan because we did get the press release earlier this week of a massive deal, talent sharing and some matches between MLW and New Japan, and I believe it was Triple A. So they are, or was it CMLL? Maybe am I? Yeah, it is CMLL. Excuse me. So there we go. That's part of the announcement right there, and this is great. We'll get some dream matches in here, get some new talent, some cross promotional matches. I'm super excited about this. This was big news. It's going to bring a lot more eyes to MLW as well, and CMLL and New Japan. They got enough eyes, but they can share some eyes.
Absolutely. But I mean, again, this goes back to that opening segment, right? No billionaires amongst these three companies, no politics amongst these three companies. And you want to talk about a revolving, I mean, I don't know any backstage politics. I'm not going to get beyond that. But all I'm going to say is that there's no politics when it comes to the fact that these three companies are united in sharing and promoting each other's talents. So if MLW has somebody that they want to bring over, say if New Japan calls up Court and says, hey, man, we want to bring Becca and Delmy over for a couple weeks. Absolutely. Go to town, take them. And in turn, we're going to give you a Chase Owens. We're going to give you a Tonga. There's going to be sharing of talent, and that door is going to not no longer be one you walk through. It's going to be a revolving door of some great dream matches, like you said.
And I mean, I know we try to keep things focused on MLW, but there's another three-letter promotion I could think of, or a pair of them, that's got a lot of talent that isn't doing a whole lot, and I don't see why they shouldn't let some of that talent work at a place like MLW, and maybe spotlight some MLW stars the other way. Like, why can't we see MLW ROH do some stuff? You know what I mean? There's a lot of people who've been through MLW and ended up at other places, so I think it would be cool to see some of them come back and do some spots. I don't know. That's just a thought, but I love this let's work together. like we're all in the same business, we're all after the same target market, but let's work together and get some money for everybody out of it, and some it's a win-win-win for everybody. So I'm all for it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And again, we do like to keep things focused on MLW, but we got to give a shout out to the rarefied one himself, Richard Hall. They had a WWE tryout earlier this week, and I'm hoping that we're gonna hear that he's been signed, because NXT could definitely use a little breath of rarefied air. 150%.
Oh, he would get over so hard there.
Oh, absolutely.
He,
He would be electrifying to that crowd. 100%.
absolutely. So best wishes out there to Rich.
Absolutely. All right, TJ Crawford, Alec Price, and finally, Kevin Blackwood. He's finally making his in-ring debut from being drafted numero uno. This match was fucking great.
This was a banger.
It was a banger, but the person who banged the hardest in this match, or who really caught my eye, was
Alec Price.
Price.
Yeah.
Price was so fucking epic in this match. It was incredible. And it was good until that TJ Crawford hooded figure came out and interfered. He takes Price out, and Crawford, off the distraction, hits Blackwood with that silver bullet kick for the win. And then at the end, Sam Laterna's out there. She's got a nose for news. Excuse me. And she's with TJ asking about this hooded figure. And Blackwood comes over and interrupts, says, I don't know who that was or what that was. I don't like you, but I do kind of respect you. And then at that point, the hooded figure comes from behind, attacks Blackwood. Crawford joins in. Security comes out. They're trying to separate stuff. A folding chair comes into play on Blackwood's ankle. And then the hooded figure is unmasked. Relatively early in the storyline, we finally get to see who this character is, only after 2 appearances. And it's none other than Tony Depp.
Tony D.
Tony D. That's right. Tony D. And a sadistic smile that really could just send chills down your fucking spine. So as Kevin Blackwood is taken out for medical attention, both Crawford and Devin are removed from the stage area to the back area, and we're not sure what repercussions will happen. But Court Bauer is no stranger to findings. A lot of people have been fined in our time here on Rewind, so there'll be no shortage of that, I'm sure. Rob, what do you got? What do you think of this match? What do you think of Alec Price? We got to see this kid back. And what do you think about Tony Deppen being revealed as the hooded figure?
Okay, so we saw Alec Price in MLW a few months ago. I remember I sent him a DM, which he never responded to. I don't care. That's not besides the point. I was just like, man, I hope they bring you back. Like, I really hope they bring you back, because that was amazing. And we've seen him in GCW and other places. He is tremendous. That like springboard crossbody 180 was so smooth and picture perfect. Like, sorry, not a springboard, like a you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. But how about the dive over the top, landing on his feet in perfect form? Like, incredible.
Yeah, that was great. But like the height he got on that crossbody, and just crossbodies, it's both guys, you're trying to land in the right spot, make it look good. It looked picture perfect. He is so smooth. All of these guys worked really well together. We saw TJ Crawford a few times before. We were really impressed by him. I'm glad to see he's getting back and getting a storyline now, not just like a match here and there. Like, he's actually got, and these storylines that it's nothing ain't been done before. A hooded figure comes out, it's my friend, it's your enemy kind of thing. But it gives the matches a little more stakes, and it gets us more invested into them. And that helps a lot. So, good on all of these guys. Of course, Blackwood, we've seen Blackwood before. We know what he can do. So we don't need to put him over that hard. But these other two guys, fantastic. Please bring them back. I was really impressed by both of them. The timing on that kick from TJ Crawford to hit Blackwood, like, that's hard to do. You got to it was a roundhouse, like, or a spinning heel, whatever the hell you want to call it. He caught him perfectly. It looked great. Bring these guys back, please. Please come back. Please come back.
150%. Absolutely agree with you. Sam Laterna, she's in the back now, from the front to the back, very quickly to the back. And she's got a one-on-one with Ichiban and his trainer, head trainer of the #1 dojo.
Translator, not even trainer, translator.
Translator, my apologies, translator. And she talked to Ichiban. She just wants to get to know him, know what he's about. And every question she asked was, again, answered by the translator, trainer, whatever you want to call him. Long story short, it's what we expected. He's looking to become the #1 middleweight in MLW, and that's what they are building him out to be. So Ichiban is definitely the guy that is going to helm that middleweight division in the very near future. Saint Laurent and the World Titan Federation expose talking about how Saint Laurent may be creating a promotion within the promotion, much like All Japan. And then they had the Exodus, which became Pro Wrestling Noah, and then Ring of Honor, and helping create All In, which eventually spawned AEW. And only time will tell, per Joe Dombrowski, but I thought it was an interesting take on that side of the storyline. This is almost like an invasion angle without really being an invasion angle. He's just garnering all the powerhouses that he can get his hands on. And pretty much the reason why he left his position was not because he gave it up. Well, he gave it up willingly, but he gave it up for what he considers to be bigger and better things. And if he starts the WTF and it spawns something else, I'm all for it. I would not be opposed to it.
Let me ask you something. Let me ask you this.
Okay.
Who are the members of the World Titan Federation right now?
Snitsky.
Where did he come from?
WWE.
Next.
Matt Cardona.
He came from
WWE. Davey Boy Smith.
He was in
New Japan.
Before that,
MLW.
he was in NXT. Wasn't he not? Was Davey Boy never signed to WWE?
Davey Boy was signed to WWE long ass time ago. So if you kept saying where was he before that, I would have eventually got to WWE.
Yeah, but he's been there.
He's been there. Most recently it's been MLW and New Japan. And
yeah, I know that, but the point is, it's such a hilarious. It's the World Titan Federation, and it's like all these ex guys who've at least worked there at some point.
Absolutely, it's a blatant shot at we know who without saying it's a blatant shot at we know.
Yeah,
who.
I love it though. Like it's freaking smart, and I don't know if anybody except Mr. Saint Laurent could be pulling this off because he's just killing me with his like iPad. You know what I mean? Just oh man, those velour tracksuits. I gotta find out where he gets those things.
You know the graphic. You can get them at any thrift store. But anyways, you know the graphic that they have the World Titan Federation come up. You know that's the side of the building. It's Stanford.
Yeah,
it's just not the front of the building. It's the fucking side of the WWE head office.
I love it.
I'm here for all of it. Listen, Saint Laurent could do no wrong, and I'm not fucking with you when I say you can get velour tracksuits at any thrift store.
No, you can't. I've
yes,
looked.
dude, they are fucking so 2001.
Yeah, but I don't want one that somebody died in. Like I want a new one.
I don't know if you're gonna find one that somebody died in
at the thrift store. Yeah, that's where they dump all the old people's stuff after they go away. Their kids just toss it to the thrift store and get somebody's death suit.
This trade is just right off its tracks, but fuck it, let's just keep it rolling till it goes right off the cliff. Matt Cardona, he's streaming live. How about this? He's streaming live from MLW's YouTube page. And he's there to answer some questions. And the first question he goes to answer, he is interrupted by a rather angry and unhinged Maki Ito that was saying some unkind things to him in her own language 100%. And then Mance Warner appears from behind him and attacks him during the live stream, cutting it short. And what was great was, instead of getting the technical difficulties graphic, we got the always ready Matt Cardona graphic, with just BRB.
Yeah. A wild Mance appears and just starts going crazy. That was so random. Just Maki Ito comes in screaming at him, and then Manser. It was hilarious.
This episode was filled with hilarity. Absolutely.
Manser is so goddamn funny. Like that guy has not cut a promo in MLW yet that didn't make me laugh at some point. Like he's just naturally freaking hilarious. Can't do any wrong on the promo side with me. That guy, he's great.
Absolutely. All right, now we are in the Slaughterhouse Control Center. New matches added to the Slaughterhouse match card. Ricochet and Page versus the one called Manders. It's official, but it's a spin the wheel and make a deal match. That's right, 13 possible choices for any match that's on that wheel. Whatever they land on is what they got to fight in. And it's signed in blood, according to Joe Dombrowski, for Slaughterhouse. And this one is for the open weight strap. Also, Becca and Delmy, we knew was going to be announced official, and it is now official. It's happening, and we know that. And also, we know that Suzuki is going to take on FITE, and we know that Kane versus Davey Boy Smith, those are your two co-main events. But now, officially, they've also added Akira versus Rocky Romero, my apologies. And due to his lobbying last week, I guess you want to say, Mance Warner is going to be able to bring back, because he's building it himself. That's the only reason Court Power lit it, because he's spending his own money and not Court's money. But he's bringing back the Chamber of Horrors match. That's right. Mance and Matt Justice are going to verse Cannonball and a mystery member of the Calling in that match at Slaughterhouse, and it's literally anything goes. So if anybody doesn't know what the Chamber of Horrors match is, it is a steel cage match, much like an elimination chamber, if you will, or Hell in the Cell. But in the center of the ring, or in the ring area, there is a torture chair. So if one of the members are incapacitated in said torture chair, then anything and everything can be used to torture said member that's stuck in that chair. And this match will be filled with all kinds of violence, and there's no better month than October for the Chamber of Horrors match. What do you got?
Hey, bro, who's booking this? Vic Venom? What is the torture chair? You're sitting in a chair, you're getting tortured. What are we talking about here? I don't understand the whole premise.
I don't know why you had to go Sopranos with it. Like, you could have just said that normally.
Well, Vic Venom, bro.
I get it. It wasn't funny, but I get
it. If you didn't get it, otherwise you would have been laughing. But anyways,
no, I got it. You didn't do a very good job.
The match card for this is looking pretty damn good.
This is the best. Sorry to interrupt you really quickly. This is the best match card that we've seen out of these returned live events that MLW has held thus far. I know we're only 3 in, but Slaughterhouse is building up to be the best one. Never Say Never was great. Fury Road was an improvement, but I think Slaughterhouse is just really going to knock it out of the fucking park.
Yeah, I'm really hyped for this. They're building on every show. They're getting a little bit better, and it's looking good for MLW right now.
Absolutely. And guys, again, we have to stress this. $7.99. $7.99. That's the monthly charge for FITE Plus, and you get this and so much other great content included. And it includes these events. You don't have to buy these events separately. They are included in that $7.99 price point. You can't fucking go wrong. And the amount of content that's on FITE Plus is absolutely incredible. It's absolutely incredible. The archive list that you can go through. I still haven't even tapped into everything that I can go through with it, but I'm enjoying my subscription thus far. I'm sure you are as well, Rob. But you really can't beat the price point. It's $7.99 US. So convert it into Canadian dollars, it's like $10.29. It's perfect.
Yeah, it's like $12.
With tax. Yeah, because we get taxed on everything. We get taxed on taxes. Okay? We're fucked up here. We absolutely are. All right, it's main event time. That's right. Jimmy Lloyd versus Akira in a street fight. And this was everything you wanted and more. It's a fun match. These two guys went to town. There was the homage to Terry Funk with the spinning ladder. There was the thumbtacks. There was interferences. There was Ricochet and Page trying to get involved, and Matt Justice having Lloyd's back. And then Akira hit that DDT on the steel chairs. And it was over. But this match was fucking great. Unfortunately, Jimmy Lloyd did not get the job done. Akira retains as middleweight champion, and Akira stays Akira 2 belts. But I wonder if there might be dissension already showing, because we've already talked about the Cracks Foundation. But I felt like Ricochet and Page waited a long ass fucking time before making his presence known. So I don't know if I really dig on that.
I don't know if I really dig on Akira sucking the blood off the fork. He used to Matt Stryker being like, "Yeah, enjoy that hepatitis." I laughed so hard. Like, no, obviously Jimmy Lloyd doesn't have hepatitis. That I know of. I don't know. He could have hepatitis. I don't think he does. I hope not. But yeah, that's just because I remember basically Matt said what I was thinking, because I see him licking the blood off a fork, and like not just like he like stuck the fork in his mouth and he was like going to town on it, and I'm like, yeah,
I left that part out of my review. I just said the match was fun. I didn't want to go into any gory details.
I'm going into gory details. He sucked the blood off a fork. Also kind of laughed when they're like, imagine trying to love Akira or being somebody Akira loves or something like that. I'm like, well, those people do exist, but yeah, we've seen them wrestle each other. So there you go. That's Akira's definition of love right there. Absolutely. Matt was saying, I don't even know if he's capable of understanding love. No, he is, but his version of love is wrestling his spouse and making each other bleed in front of a few hundred people. So it's awesome. The match, like, what can I say? It was what it was. They beat the shit out of each other. There was weapons, there was pain, there was interference. It was what it was. I'm not like the biggest street match or death match guy, but both these guys are real good at their craft, and I enjoy this one. It's a good way to close out the show.
Absolutely. Before we get to the final segment of the show, I want to do quote Matt Striker as Jimmy Lloyd was coming out. He mentioned two words: ultra violent wrestler, and he said a lot of people mistake the fact that ultra violent wrestlers can't wrestle. And he goes, they can't. They just choose this violence route because they love it, but they can't absolutely wrestle. And he said, if you put Jimmy Lloyd up against any member of the roster in a clean cut down the middle wrestling match, Jimmy Lloyd would be able to keep up with them and maybe out wrestle most of them. So kudos to Matt Striker, who is somebody who comes from the old school yet new school. He's kind of got a hybrid feel for the business in its entirety. But good for him for pointing out the fact that just because you're an ultra violent wrestler doesn't mean you can't wrestle. You wanna smack somebody in the face with a light tube, but you also know how to give somebody a suplex off the top rope and do it safely. So the fact is that Matt Striker showing Jimmy Lloyd and all the guys that come from that craft who make up most of our current MLW roster now in SGC and everybody else, these guys can go. Just because they love to fight and bring weapons into it doesn't mean that they aren't wrestlers and they aren't trained. Respect them because they're fucking putting their lives on the line in a lot of different ways in this business. And they should be respected for the fact that they can fucking wrestle. That's it.
That is correct.
Absolutely. All right, last segment of the day is another WTF segment. And again, that's World Titan Federation, not what the fuck, World Titan Federation. And he's basically stating, well, I have to make it clear because I short form WTF, and a lot of people may be out there like, why does he keep saying what the fuck? It's World Titan Federation, just abbreviated. I have to make that clear, Rob. I have to. Then he says that Kane at Slaughterhouse, DBS is gonna pin him. He's already knocked him out. He's already made him tap, but now he's gonna pin him. They'll put a bet on it. And he's got a big opponent for Alex Kane next week to kind of soften him up for DBS before Slaughterhouse, because we are only 2 weeks away. So Alex Kane should be ready for next week because Saint Laurent is bringing a challenger to him. So obviously we'll talk about that next week when we get to that point. But that's it. Rob, what did you think about this final little tidbit from Saint Laurent before we say our goodbyes and wrap it up?
As much as I respect Mr. Saint Laurent, what he's doing with the World Titan Federation, he's not getting that belt off Alex Kane anytime soon. The Suplex Assassin is dominant at the moment, and I don't care what happened a year or 2 years ago against Davey Boy. This is a different Alex Kane, and good luck to Davey Boy. He's going to need it.
150% agree. Listen, we've talked about a lot of people in the draft and that they're coming out making bright spots, TR James improving and stuff like that. Not everybody's Alex Kane. Not everybody come out, make statements right off the hop and just skyrocket like this guy has. This guy has taken over MLW and will go down in history as one of the greats in MLW. He will be up there with the likes of an MJF, the likes of a Richard Holiday, the likes of an Alex Hammerstone. If you put a Mount Rushmore right now of people that have, and there have been a lot of amazing talents, but I would put 4 of the most memorable characters for me would be Kane, Holiday, MJF, and Hammerstone. That's what I consider to be the cornerstones or the Mount Rushmore of MLW. And I know that
Really?
people are like, oh my God, there's so many more names. Those would be the guys that have really cemented something for me in MLW.
Because I wasn't really watching as a whole lot with the MJF when he was there with the Dynasty and stuff, I would probably have to swap him out for Fatu just based on what I've watched from MLW. But I like, you're not wrong, it's just a matter of opinion. I think all those guys would be worthy. If there was 5 pillars, it'd be easily be Fatu sliding in there on yours.
Absolutely. So Fatu is definitely someone that can interchange. It's just having the personal connection with Holiday. We've had him on the show. Just digging on MJF from those days and people in AEW being like, oh, this guy's a Tillerbred star. Go watch the shit he did back in MLW because that's even more unfiltered. That's even more MJF after hours. Like MLW gave no fucks. And MJF could say the word fuck and not have to worry about getting fined. Why? Because it was fucking YouTube. So it was a different feel to the MJF character. And
He should have his own talk show called MJF After Dark.
I think that'd be great. That'd be great. Him and RJ City. That's just
Oh
gold.
God, that would...
Gold. Gold, man. Gold. Hilarity, all kinds. All right, Robbie, say your goodbyes.
Yeah, you can follow me on the Instagram at the real Uncle Bobby B. And if you're tuning in, thank you. We appreciate you. And just want to also mention I'm wearing my orange shirt today. Coming up this weekend is the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation in Canada. We do not have the best history with our Indigenous friends, so we are looking to do better. And I encourage you to look locally, no matter where you may be, on how you can do better with regards to your Indigenous friends that you share this land with.
150%. Couldn't have said it better myself. And that's one of the few times I'll agree with you. You were better. I will agree with you.
Also, Becca is incredible.
All right, guys, that's it for this one. Peace, love. I'm not even going to fucking acknowledge it. Peace, love, and wrestling. See you guys next week.
Adios.